Now on Fox 1.
Him as he ran through a security checkpoint. His intended targets, allegedly the president and top cabinet officials. We expect to learn what the charges Allen will face shortly. Cameras are not allowed inside the courtroom, but our reporters inside will be sending us notes in real time that I will bring to you and our team will bring to you as soon as the hearing gets underway. So far, we know that Allen has been walked in to that courtroom right now. He is sitting, he is wearing a blue jumpsuit, and he is flanked by 2 U.S. Marshals that are on each side of him. We understand that the matter is now unsealed, that according to the judge who's just announced that in court, and the pretrial services are about to begin right now. Kelly O'Donnell joins our coverage now. Kelly, a quick question to you, because the night, Saturday night after this happened, there were some announcements of 2 initial charges. Do we expect to hear those formally today, or will there be additional charges as well, do we expect?
Well, in the appearance today, when they say the matter is unsealed, they are...
Will Miniker post on a surprise commenter on the shooting? Exclusive, John Hinckley, the man who shot then-President Ronald Reagan in 1981, says the Washington Hilton Hotel should stop holding big events because it's not secure. He's in the group chat. I love when he weighs in on the situation. He's done it a few times. He's like, I should know. That's crazy, by the way. John Hinckley weighing in on the situation. He's like, I should know. It's not a secure area for presidents, okay? You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of like when they have like former mafia boss reacts to, or former jewel heist thief reacts to famous jewelry theft. You know, it's like Variety reports, we brought in an expert, and there are very few experts that could actually unironically weigh in on the subject. He is the subject matter expert on trying to kill presidents at the Washington Hilton Hotel. So, unbelievable moment here. Yeah, Jordan Belfort reacts to Ponzi scheme.
Now unsealing the charges against this 31-year-old California man. So this will be the first time we get a sense of those charges. Saturday night, there were some preliminary expected weapons-related charges.
Oh, shit, he's doing the Shia smirk. Bro, oh, dude, that's crazy. Oh, that's going to do numbers. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Now, this is a man who doesn't seem to be feeling too... This is a man who's excited at the prospect of a ballroom being built, okay? That's what he's looking like. He's looking like, he's like, yep, that ballroom is getting fucking built, all right?
We think a lot of work has been done in the hours since then, going through the evidence both at the hotel where this event occurred, in his hotel room. He, of course, checked into the Washington Hilton Hotel in advance of the White House Correspondents' Dinner as a part of the alleged planning of this suspect. Also, he traveled from California on a train, a multi-day trip to get to Washington. We know, based on the weapons that were recovered, those were purchased legally. But as they explore his electronic footprint, they conducted searches at his California home and at the hotel. They've been piecing together evidence, and included were some writings he sent to his family that we have been able to review. They were provided to us by a senior White House official, and that describes some of his intention and thought. And that's why the White House has so comfortably labeled this an assassination attempt. We'll have to see if the charges bear that out in the specific details. Clearly, the man was armed, was moving toward the ballroom where the president and many other dignitaries were attending the dinner. 2,600 guests in a very crowded ballroom. Many members of the cabinet, dignitaries, ambassadors from the U.S. and other countries were there. It was a high-profile event, which in and of itself could have been a target. But we understand from what authorities tell us was included in this writing to his family that he had intention talking about members of the Trump administration. He did not name President Trump, but some of what he wrote seemed to indicate.
What did he write that indicated that he was talking about Trump? This part is also brilliant because every time they talk about how he didn't call out Trump by name, but implied that it was Trump, they have to literally say that he called him a rapist pedophile. which is very funny.
He was alluding to President Trump and others who were serving in the administration. We will know much more when these documents are available to us. They have not been available yet. We would expect to see a FBI affidavit.
Ted Cruz brought you up on his podcast today.
Maximum warfare everywhere all the time.
Yeah, I love that they just like pair up Hakeem Jeffries' maximum warfare statement with like whatever the fuck they think I'm actively demanding people do.
Where an FBI agent swears to some of the initial evidence that's been brought before the court that helps to support whatever charges come. These will certainly be felonies. They are at the federal level. But this magistrate appearance today is the most beginning of these kinds of events. He may not enter any kind of a plea. This is simply telling him what the charges are against him. He is at this point supplied by counsel, federal defense counsel that is provided to him, public defender. And so it's an early step. But when we get those charging documents, the specifics of the complaint will have more information. This may ultimately go to a grand jury where still more will come out, but this is a critical first step in what could be a long-time prosecution. In many of these potentially violent or terroristic type attacks, the suspect is, in many instances, is shot and killed or somehow loses his or her life in it. This is a more unusual case where the suspect was not injured. He was subdued at the hotel, and now he has rights and a process that begins. I'm being told 3 counts?
3 counts.
Okay, let's look at those counts to get the specifics here.
Yeah, the attempt to assassinate the president, 3 counts on that, Kelly. The judge, when you...
They were saying Pete had coke jaw. Well, who do you mean they? I was saying it because it's the truth. He did have coke jaw. Did you not see? Or Molly? I mean, he was definitely zooted, like 100%. That's not even a fucking joke. That's not even a question. I mean, look here. It's funny because a lot of these guys who talk shit on the internet are just fucking nerds that have never seen someone zooted before. Look at his jaw. Look at his jaw. Look at his jaw. I don't know what Matt Crispin is posting in the replies, but here, there's more. Snizjaw, my man. He's jawing some premium Peruvian marching powder. In other words, he's obviously high on cocaine. You people are so sheltered and stupid. No wonder you continue to support this gay Israeli scam government.
Reporting said there were several charges here, so this is going to be a little bit till we get everything in. And our team,
yeah,
again,
Seth Harper also had a take on it too. He said, "I've been saying this for more than a year that everyone at the top of the U.S. war machine is coked to the gills and also geeked up on modafinil and Dex, but mainstream opinion is still basically unaware of this disturbing reality." I mean, it tracks. Yeah, I mean, this is a great example of this, but like Blitz, drugs in the Third Reich. This is unironically what happened with the Nazis too. They were also fucking crackheads. They were cracked out on methamphetamine. Panzer Schokolade, right? Isn't that what it is? Isn't that what it like they were slamming methamphetamine. There's that famous video of Hitler just like fucking shivering. So that also tracks, you know? That book has no evidence. No! No!
Is reporting from inside the courtroom back to me and Kelly. The cameras aren't allowed there. So far, all we know, he's been here comes more. An attempt to assassinate the president of the United States. It looks like 3 counts of that, Kelly, as we know. That, of course, you know, if he is convicted, that up to life in prison if he were to be found guilty. We're going to wait some more of this. We also learned he's 31 years old. He has a graduate degree, a master's degree, I should say. He pronounces his name Cole Tomas Allen. And as you said, he has asked the court to appoint him an attorney.
He's an educated suspect,
yeah,
Tom.
He is.
And
Count two, transportation of a firearm and ammunition through the interstate commerce with intent to commit a felony. You were talking about that train trip. We know that he took a train from California all the way to Washington, Kelly?
That's correct, and that would account for taking firearms across state lines, lawfully purchased firearms, but taking them across state lines with an intent to commit a crime. That's its own kind of felony. So that explains that. The 3 counts of attempted assassination, I'll be curious to see if that ties with discharging his weapon. If he fired his weapon multiple times,
that's count 3. It just came in. It
Yes,
just came in. That's count 3. Yeah, so you're right about that. That one just came in. He has been fully briefed on these charges, and he says that he is aware of the charges against him.
And that will be a part of determining that he is capable of being in this process. We have seen in some instances where the mental acuity of a defendant is at issue. He is saying he understands his rights. He understands the charges against him. That's an important part of the process. At this point, these are very serious charges, of course. And
he's going.
He's
going for the Mangione play. He's like propaganda of the deed, except that doesn't work if you don't actually accomplish the deed, ironically enough. Like he's just staring down the barrel of like life sentence for pretty much nothing. Maybe he'll have a little bit of time on the main stage where he can talk about how everyone should have voted for Kamala Harris and how Israel must be defended. Who knows? Trump pardon? He's going to come out and be like, we should build the ballroom. I was just pen testing. I was pen testing to show America the necessity for why a ballroom must be built.
The backdrop of growing political violence in the country, Tom, something that President Trump has personally experienced with multiple attempts on his life, and many other figures across the political spectrum have had criminal acts against them for being in the political space. This is certainly a very notable case, one that stands out as we're learning more about the specifics here.
And as you mentioned something earlier, it sparked a reminder here. Initially, when this hearing started, the judge had asked him if he had taken any drugs, any medication, or any alcohol in the last 24 hours. He said he had not. And that is, part of the procedure here to make sure he understands the charges against him, Kelly.
And we know from investigators that they spoke to his brother and to his sister in authorities having interviews with investigators. The brother, when he received that emailed message to the family, did alert police in New London, Connecticut. And there was a connection from that local police department forwarding that information sort of across to federal partners and ultimately getting to the command center here in Washington that was dealing with the event at the Washington Hilton Hotel. So the family cooperated in that way. Authorities also tell me that the sister spoke about escalating rhetoric from her brother and that the family was concerned about the way he talked about world events, a variety of world events and national political events. We know from what others describe, he was engaged in a lot of that, had concerns about what was happening, and according to the document that we reviewed, had a sense that he needed to be the one to take action. More of that will play out. We'll have to learn more about the specifics, any mitigating facts that may come forward.
Kelly, we're now learning exactly what he was holding, according to the assistant U.S. attorney who's reading this now to the judge, a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun, a .38 caliber semi-automatic pistol, 3 knives, and, quote, other dangerous paraphernalia. The assistant U.S. attorney now asking the judge and requesting that there be no chance at bond for this suspect as it speaks because of the severity of the crimes. And speaking to that this was premeditated. It was planned before he got on that train from California to Washington, D.C., and that his intended target was to assassinate the President of the United States.
And that will be a case they will have to outline with specific information as they learn more from his writings, his social media profile, interviews they conduct with family members, those who know him, some of the facts on the scene. There's ballistic evidence that is being processed. There were bullet holes in a wall at the hotel. And a reminder to our audience, this suspect did not get to the ballroom level where those 2,600 guests were assembled, including the president, vice president, first lady, and many dignitaries. He was on a floor above that.
What are the chances that he got radicalized by ChatGPT? I don't think so. I don't think he got... I don't think this is a ChatGPT radicalization. I think he is... I think he's just the regular ass dude. He's just a regular fucking liberal with no outlet. And you know... Like, I think he was a radical liberal who lost his dang mind a little bit and had no real outlet whatsoever for all of his anger, and thinks that Donald Trump is not merely a symptom of the disease, but wholeheartedly the main problem, and his cabinet too. What is this? Former U.S. Deputy Secretary. Oh, dude, they're coming after Clash Report too, which is a separate issue that I find really funny because Clash Report is like Turkish, I think. He was radicalized by right-wing and leftist movements, peeling away all the people around him. He was trapped in a dying ideological rot movement and saw no way forward. Neoliberalism does this to people. Very sad. I mean, I don't know if that's the case. I think he just doesn't. He had no productive outlet. Hasan, in your opinion, has all the violence come from the center? That's really funny. No, I don't. You guys are trying to get me to say things that are favorable to my ideological position, but I always am going to give you what my honest opinion is, okay? Yes, he is a radical liberal centrist. This is true. He hated Donald Trump. He despised Donald Trump. I'm not entirely certain as to what like totally triggered this, this final act of violence that he tried to engage in and failed to do so. I think like Epstein probably played a big role in it. I think beyond Epstein, what also most likely played a big role in it is the Trump Christianity, like the Antichrist shit. Was he for sure pro-Israel? Yes, he was abso-fucking-lutely pro-Israel. We know that for a fact now. I didn't initially assume this, if you recall yesterday. Oh, also, update. Another thing that I have to apologize for. I was wrong. I said he's an atheist. Initially, when I read not the manifesto, but I read like the initial assessment, I said he might be a Reddit style atheist. I was wrong. Part of the reason why I didn't get a full understanding of what his worldview looked like was because I can't read the fucking manifesto when I'm live on Twitch, and unfortunately his manifesto had just come out, and so I apologize for that. It turns out he's a Christian. He isn't, as far as I understand, he's not an atheist at all, and that came from a lot of these news outlets summarizing his manifesto by claiming he was anti-Christian only because he actually was saying Trump is not a real Christian. Which is a really fucked up way to report on what was going on, but you know, I'll do my redaction. Agenda Free's been showing the manifesto on Twitch all stream. Weird enough. Not saying you should. Just weird he doesn't get banned. I don't think anyone should get banned for showing manifestos. You guys know what my position is on this. How do we know he's pro-Israel? His retweets on Twitter. People found his Blue Sky account, and then people found his archived tweets as well on his now deleted Twitter account. And his now deleted Twitter account and the prolific retweets that he engaged in reveal a very different reality about his position on Israel specifically. Newly resurfaced tweets from Cole Allen reveal he hated Hassan Piker, the far left and pro-Palestine protesters. Reposted by Cole Force. No opinion. The Palestine protesters are functionally speaking Republicans. I find far right and far leftist dipshits who say, I just want the war to stop offensive. Do you think Ukrainians don't want the war to stop? My position on Gaza, retweeting Cold Force, retweeting Brianna Wu, calling Gaza protesters the KKK. Retweeting one of my number one ops, Troubleman90. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to just give up the last 85 years of civil rights and put my voting rights in jeopardy because 1% of the population of Michigan is upset over a decades-long conflict on the other side of the world that has nothing to do with me or my community. Literally all my ops. All of my ops that spent the last 2 months every single day claiming that I was violent, I was a radical, I was trying to get this exact thing that happened to happen. Turns out the guy was a fan of theirs. Okay? The usual suspects are scoffing at those, saying they're barely hate tweets, but they're just outing themselves as psychopaths. Yeah. Why is he mad at Trump? There are plenty of people who are radical liberals, radical centrist liberals who are pro-Israel too, that hate Donald Trump, but also hate the extreme left. Sometimes they hate the extreme left more than they hate Donald Trump. Given the fact that this guy didn't like me, but, wanted to kill Donald Trump instead of me, I assume he's in the camp where he hates Donald Trump more than he hates me. There are others who I personally believe would rather kill me before they would kill Trump. Let's be real.
In a public space that had been used as part of the general reception for all of those guests. Yes. And there were...
Yes, guys like this fall into the I hate Hassan and I hate the left more than I hate the Republicans camp. He doesn't have a real constituency and therefore is utterly irrelevant and should not be paid attention to, but we're doing it anyway, regardless. But yeah, this guy is in that camp of people who are unbelievably and frustratingly dense. You'd rather ally with Ben Shapiro than a communist. Unironically, yes, because unlike the people further to the right of Ben, like Jack Posobiec or Libs of TikTok or any ride or die Trump dick suck, Shapiro is not nearly as toxic as any communist or anarchist or tanky or left populist or whatever. This was, of course, in response to me telling Ben Shapiro a literal terrorist credited Ben Shapiro for his radicalization in a court case where he went to prison for the mosque shootings that he engaged in Quebec. Shapiro incited a shooting. What? You didn't know that? Here it is. Quebec City mosque shooter scoured Twitter for Trump right-wing figures before attack. He openly stated, Bizanet checked in on the Twitter account of Ben Shapiro, editor-in-chief of the conservative news site Daily Wire, 93 times in the month leading up to the shooting. This was a guy who straight up openly admitted that Ben Shapiro radicalized him, by the way. Just so you understand. Yeah, Rand Paul is doing it. Ben is full-blown obsessed with you nowadays. He's washed beyond comprehension. Yes, because if someone is pro-Israel, okay, if someone is Israel first in any way, shape, or form, they will never stop chirping about me. Anyway, this fucking dipshit, though, on the other hand, the recent Trump shooter was a Hassanoid, lies about the shooter who was a hater of mine, and then continues to defend Ben Shapiro. Bro, the liberals think they're going to be spared. Certified Babela moment? Yeah. Yeah, no, they do. They do. History has obviously taught us that liberals will not be spared. Apparently, the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooter frequently reposted radical centrist Canadian ex-Bush speechwriter David Frum. Maybe it's time for the media to pay more attention to this violent ideology. I asked Claude AI to compare the Hassan Piker audience to the cringe wine moms at MS Now. On a normal night, MS Now's primetime audience of roughly 900,000 to about 25,000. Yeah, David Frum is a hater of mine as well. Another person that the shooter retweeted.
Layers of barricades and metal detectors and those kinds of steps. He was seen on video running through one of those metal detectors. After the event had begun and all other guests were assembled inside, he was subdued by a variety of officers there. There was a discharge of weapons. I'm told he fired his...
My brother told me he's interacted with this guy on a Discord. Apparently, he was active in the SoCal Smash Bros. Community and Maine's Me Brawler. He was in the Captain Falcon Smash Discord arguing about whose move was better or something. That makes total sense.
Weapon, and that there was return fire from law enforcement. And that is when the Uniform Division Secret Service officer was struck in the vest by some projectile. And he thankfully was not injured. He certainly took the full force of...
Wait, asking AI is not a news story? Yeah, dog, I know. You should tell that to Jewish Insider, who actually did write an entire news story on David Frum asking Claude AI if I had motion or not. I agree, though. It's not a news story.
Of that, but he was only briefly at the hospital and then released. So no injuries here. The suspect was not injured. The president was safe as well.
And Kelly, I understand now from the notes that we're getting in court, there's going to be a detention hearing now at 11 a.m. this Thursday. His public defender has said that Mr. Allen has no prior arrests or convictions. And of course, he would say this as his attorney. He is presumed innocent at the time. It sounds like they will have this detention hearing on Thursday as long as the judge signs off on it. So it sounds, at least in this case, things are moving pretty quickly in this case.
Exactly. And that's what we expected. This type of hearing, this...
Even the shooter is more of a gamer than you? Calm down, dude. It turns out being a gamer is bad, by the way. Hello? This man is a criminal! Is that what you think of me? You want me to be a criminal who does crimes like this criminal gamer?
First appearance is very brief. No entrance of plea. The discussion of detention would come next. There would be a discussion, is there bail, is there not bail? The government will present its request for no bail opportunity. His defense counsel will have a chance to respond. He will now be in the custody of the U.S. Marshals. Prior to this, he'd been held by Washington Metropolitan Police prior to being charged as a federal defendant. They were able to hold him for a period of time simply on the suspicion of what happened Saturday night. There will be many steps to come and so much more to learn, Tom.
I want to bring in Tom Winter now, who covers law enforcement for us. Tom, there is so much evidence, at least from what federal investigators and Secret Service and our own reporting show against this man right now. Talk to us about some of the key pieces we have. There's been talk of this manifesto. There's the surveillance video of him sprinting across that initial security checkpoint, and then him, of course, on the ground in handcuffs there at the scene with weapons allegedly on him.
You know, that's right, Tom, and that evidence is pretty strong as it's been shared with us so far. It's 3 counts total here. So the key one is the attempt to assassinate the President of the United States. That does carry a life sentence if he's convicted to that, up to a life sentence. There's also count 3 there, that discharge of a firearm. That's a mandatory minimum if he's convicted of that. What they seem to have extrapolated is some intent. From that note that we've been reporting on, that's very clear, as you mentioned, a manifesto detailing the exact reasons why he was there. There's little room for interpretation. He specifically references the Trump administration and
specifically Donald Trump, who he wanted to assassinate because he said he wanted to kill the rapist pedophile. And I guess we all know who he's referencing when he says that Trump, every time he gets low approval ratings,
FIB special agent, I got this covered.
Detain this man.
Fuck you, I should detain you. I just took a bullet for my country.
Why do you listen to mainstream media? I guess because you need content source for Twitch. What do you mean, dude? Your parents are listening to mainstream media. These guys still have some capacity to lead discourse.
his whole game plan for how he was going to carry this out and his reasons for doing so. You've got this video that you're looking at right now, which we're going to start to see be played out shortly, where he will come running in from the left, going past the checkpoint. Here he is coming right now. You can see him dressed in all dark clothing, presumably holding a rifle there, just the way that he looks. That was as they were kind of breaking down the magnetometer and the checkpoint. Here he is lying on the ground shortly thereafter, after he's taken into custody and stripped to make sure he's got no other explosive devices on him. He is going to be held until that hearing. And one of the things that we'll get, Tom, in the coming couple of days, and presumably a lot of detail in today's complaint, once that is publicly filed to the docket, we will know more about that. But they will also file a detention memo from federal prosecutors where they can lay out some additional evidence that goes just beyond the basic requirements to bring these charges against them. And sometimes we can get a lot more information out of those filings. I will note, and some folks might point out, that there's a preliminary hearing scheduled for May 11th. That will almost assuredly not.
He was so uniform in having bad takes, plays new gen trash smash instead of melee, endorses decrepit zombified political theories like neoliberalism over the ascendant leftist populism, loves Israel and thinks pro-Palestinians are bad people, brain rot takes all the way down. Yeah. Couldn't even... Bro was on a fucking, like, 10-plus hour train ride. Even longer than that. Like, 24-hour train ride. And he didn't even do the dignity of reading the goddamn New York Times paper, the New York Times article that I was featured in, or even watch the New York Times podcast that I was featured in, before fucking quote retweeting slams, calling me a social maladaptive actor who is engaging in the moral rot that is at the core of American politics, because he thought that I was actually endorsing the concept of micro-looting. Ironic, because he was on his way to assassinate the fucking president, which in his mind, I guess, is less less antisocial behavior. Okay? But if he had actually read the New York Times article or watched the New York Times podcast, instead of quote retweeting snide remarks, he would have seen my assessment on adventurism, Luigi Mangione, and how adventurism doesn't get the results that many actors who believe in decentralized forms of violence think it gets. If he had read the fucking New York Times article that I was featured in, instead of doing the thing that every dumb fuck, stupid ass, centrist, right-wing, radical liberal does, which is, oh, this guy's stupid, he would have known that adventurism doesn't work. And he wouldn't have tried and failed to do this thing. I'm just saying. Some union guy at Damage Mag wrote some bullshit story about you too. Third way's on your ass, man. A union guy? What the fuck? A pro-Israel union guy? Earlier this week, left-wing Twitch celebrity, of course, despite the guest's airy defense of petty theft, the conversation has plenty of hedging. After arguing that there was nothing wrong with stealing a car, insisting they would do it himself and get away with it, Piker admitted that he has yet to steal so much as a candy bar. I wonder if you misunderstood the point that I was making, or perhaps I'm wrong. I like that so much of the discourse is always, I didn't understand the point you were making, so I'm going to make it everybody else's problem. And now we do it professionally. Lol, I went on the New York Times podcast to discuss the subject, crime is good and some people are disingenuous about my take. How could this happen? Hey, jackass, do you think I have any fucking control over what the editorial seasoning looks like on a New York Times podcast? They asked me, do you want to talk about micro-looting, or not even micro-looting? They wanted to talk about the concept of theft. I made it very clear that I don't give a shit about a random poor person stealing a loaf of bread or something to survive. I don't really give a shit about theft all that much either. And that the far more consequential type of theft that I wanted to talk about was the invisible version of theft, which is wage theft. Systematic looting that takes place in the hands of the wealthy oligarchs that steal from the working class individuals. Okay? It's not my fucking fault that people are incapable of reading, incapable of comprehending nuanced thoughts, and easily go for quick slam dunks. Socialist loves theft. Once again, it's not my fucking fault. What am I supposed to do? I know, dude. They think they set you up to look bad. No, I don't think so. I quite literally clarify in the conversation. No one has seen it, of course. They've only talked about it. They've talked over it. That petty theft is not a revolutionary act. And the very fact that people actually feel like it's a revolutionary act is probably because they have no actual productive outlet to make the systemic changes necessary for the real systemic harm that they're experiencing. A lack of political education, a lack of political analysis. These were the concepts I talked about. At some point, we have to say, look, man, if people are refusing to understand nuance, it can't be, it can't be my issue. What am I supposed to do? They're being purposely obtuse.
Happen. He will likely be indicted by a federal grand jury well before that date, but because he's being arrested on what we call a complaint, they have to enter that date for there to be a hearing to see whether or not the evidence, weigh the evidence rather, on this complaint. But the most serious charge is the first one, the attempted assassination of the President of the United States. This is now officially the third attempted assassination against the President, Donald J. Trump. 2 attempts, of course, while he was a candidate for office. A third one now that he is in office that apparently occurred or allegedly occurred, according to the Justice Department, on Saturday night. Those 2 previous ones, one in Butler, Pennsylvania, Thomas Matthew Crooks, and then a second one near his golf course in Florida with Ryan Routh, who was convicted several months ago as a result of his federal trial there. Crooks, of course, was killed by a U.S. Secret Service sniper, counter-sniper that was up on the roof at that incident. Unlike that first incident involving Crooks in Butler, Pennsylvania, we now have, Tom, to your point earlier, just a tremendous amount of evidence because we have a note. With Crooks, we didn't have really any social media profile, no writings, nothing really left behind. Crooks is very clear here, as I mentioned before, and also discussed the security at the hotel. We see him there flanked by officers, this image being put out by the president on Saturday evening after he arrived back at the White House. But this is just a very different case than that, and obviously they will continue their investigation, presumably continue to get surveillance video, some according according to our colleagues, including Kelly O'Donnell, contains him going in through the stairwell to get down there so he's not detected in the elevators. Much more to come, Tom, I'm sure, as we continue to get these charges in.
And as we look back on those 3 assassinations attempts, this one marks the 3rd one. Tom, there's also that Pakistani man that is on trial. I believe he's still on trial, saying that Iran had hired him to kill President Trump and other administration officials as well. So there have been both plots and assassination attempts against the president's life. Tom, in that manifesto, do we know if it was just an MO, if you will, right, his modus operandi, or was there also a plan of attack in there as well? Did he lay out what he wanted to do? Because I've seen some reporting out there about, you know, administration officials were the targets in sort of an order of importance.
That's exactly right. I mean, I think he understood, based, if you read this note, that this, in his eyes, was the best opportunity because he thought he could get closest to the president. That's what he says in the note. He also talks about the fact that he wanted to go after administration officials. I think he knew by the time he would get too close to where Trump was, he would have been confronted by law enforcement, but certainly was up for any sort of top officials. Interestingly, we don't know why. He says that he was not going to go after the FBI director, Kash Patel, but he definitely seemed to go after administration officials. And that, you know, big picture here, Tom, you know, you referenced the charges against that Pakistani individual. We're not even talking about the threats that are investigated by the Secret Service.
Why are they not talking about the Mar-a-Lago one?
Prosecuted.
The Mar-a-Lago pads the stats against Trump's overarching argument and against the right's overarching argument. That all of this violence is coming from the left, the radical left, and that it's not actually former Trump fans. You should check out Kyle's compilation of the shooting events.
Hope everybody out there.
Oh my God, he's doing a false flag. Oh, he's doing it. Oh, Dark Woke Commander, he's going the distance. He's going the distance. I don't think he's gonna lean into this being a fucking. Incredible things are happening on Israeli Twitter. Oh, I know this. I know. This is the average. This was the average Ashkenazi take in 1948. Yeah. This Israeli Ashkenazi Jew is doing Mizrahi hatred the old-fashioned way, okay? I know. This actually led me down a very funny rabbit hole where I found a Mizrahi Jew in Israel that was talking about how he hates Israel because the Mizrahis were actually the elite in Arab countries, and then they went to Israel and they got treated like fucking shit, and they lost all of their wealth. And if Israel never existed, that they'd still be dominating the Arabs. It's very funny. I want to see if I can find that other account. I was reading their tweets. They were so stupid. Pioneers of Dark Woke. Yeah, this was basically the speech Shimon Peres gave in Beit Shemesh in 1981. We'll get to that in a second. Hold on. I want to do... I want to finish this and I want to look at my king, my Dark Woke king.
Let alone plots. And so now if you have individuals that think, you know what, maybe I can't get to Donald Trump, maybe I can get to other members of the Trump administration, the headache, not just for the Secret Service, but for the diplomatic security service that covers the State Department, or for the military, for the Secretary of War, just the security posture that we now have to be in. And oh, by the way, we're in the middle of a war. It's a really complex picture here going forward.
I want to bring in Danny Savalos. Danny, there's going to be a detention here, and we know this week. Do you see any scenario where this man is released from federal custody?
Zero. This is what you call a presumption case, and that even came up during the hearing, the very brief hearing today. Normally, the Bail Reform Act says that people have a presumption of bail when they appear before the magistrate, but there are certain cases in which there's a presumption that no set of circumstances or conditions will keep the public safe or ensure the defendant's appearance at trial. So this is what we call a presumption case. You've got guns. Those are usually presumptions. He will remain in custody no matter what happens in 3 days at the bail hearing.
All right, Danny Savalas, we thank you. I want to get quickly to Gabe Gutierrez, who's covering this from the White House. Gabe, the White House has come out today to highlight what happened on Saturday night.
Is there a reason why the first one to be escorted safely instead of Trump was J.D. Vance? I don't know. Maybe because Trump is too fat. Perhaps that could be the reason. He's like harder to move around. I've been thinking about that a lot. I'm like, is there a deeper, darker plot here where they kind of want Trump to be killed so that J.D. Vance becomes the competent heir to the throne? Especially considering that J.D. Vance most likely is not going to be able to hold the MAGA base together anyway because he's a charisma suck. I did think about that a little bit. Trump's body man looked a little older than JD's. Yeah, I mean, those things are maybe deliberate, you know? You never know. I love conspiracy theories, and I will be entertaining them in a second with my dark woke king, Kyle Kalinske.
Talk about security and steps going forward. And it's really unclear how this event changes the president's schedule going forward in the events he holds, whether they be indoors or outdoors.
Yes, that's right, Tom. Look, the president has said that he wants to redo this dinner within the next 30 days or so. Right now, it's very unclear exactly how.
I know we've been covering this wall to wall, but I don't think the average person gives a single solitary shit about the failed assassination attempt on the awful American president that everybody fucking hates, whose approval rating is currently lower than like 30%.
That will happen, what venue it would happen at. The White House is using this opportunity to try and make the case for why the president wants that massive ballroom that has been very controversial and has been tied up in the courts right now. That ballroom proposed to be 90,000 square feet. And
my speculation here, pre-watch Piker, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. My pre-watch Piker on this issue is that this ballroom shit is going to annoy people even further. Because, like, most people, I don't think, give a shit that the president was very far away from being assassinated. Let's be real. This dude had no fucking motion whatsoever. And that the more he talks about the fucking ballroom, the more liberals go, oh, my God, this is literally a secret plot to build a ballroom. What's in the ballroom? Ain't nobody knows, okay? I've heard some liberals speculate that there's like a data center underneath the ballroom. I don't know why that would be a thing that'd be beneficial for the admin. Obviously, Trump thinks that there's military usage or the military really wants this ballroom, which once again is inviting additional speculation that there's something weird afoot or like a bunker. And not only that, but also the more people talk about how like this necessitates the building of a ballroom from, you know, John Hinckley all the way to John Fetterman, all the Johns are covered here. It's going to probably annoy people in the margins that it's like that this is what we're focused on. Can we be fucking serious? Gas prices are unbelievable at the pump, and you're fucking talking about the ballroom. Who gives a shit? Fuck you and your ballroom is probably what's going to be the reaction. So keep it up is what I say to the right for continuing on this pro ballroom narrative.
The president saying private donations would cover it. It would only hold about 1,000 people, though. And as you heard earlier, the White House Correspondents' Dinner, more than 2,000 people at that event. Now, just a short time ago, we heard from Caroline Leavitt. She says this week, Secret Service, DHS, and the White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, will hold a meeting to discuss security moving forward, Tom.
Gabe Gutierrez, first I want to thank Gabe and Danny and Tom and Kelly for their coverage. This is going to conclude this NBC News special report.
Bro, they got Rand Paul on the ballroom. He's supposed to be a libertarian. Rand Paul is like, oh my God, $1 is going to poor people. Shut down the fucking government. That Rand Paul is like, yeah, we should spend unlimited billions of dollars. We should spend all the money on the ballroom. It's insane. Even fucking Rand Paul's like, we got to get the ballroom going.
Having a great day. I have an awesome show lined up for you. It is a juicy show. It is a spicy show. You don't want to miss this one. So in just a second, we're going to talk about it. Was the White House Trump era? I wish I was kidding. I'm not kidding. We'll also get to that. We also have Trump crashing out at Norah O'Donnell because she read the shooter's manifesto to his face, and we get some all-time quotes coming from the big guy. Like, this is, I'm telling you, this is going to go in the history books. The shit he said is going to go in the history books, and not in a good way, okay? So we'll dive into that as well. And then later on, Iran keeps humiliating Trump over and over, and he doesn't know what to do about it. And Russell Brand barbecues whatever the hell remained of his credibility to the channel. Episodes. Huge event was happening. Bizarre, weird, I know. But the first time he decides to go to this thing as president, there's an alleged attempted shooting. Now, first let me show you the initial video that went viral. What you're going to see here is this is at the beginning of the event. People are beginning to eat and stuff. Trump is, sitting at the front of the room, and you're going to hear some shots ring out, but it's like kind of distant. And then take note of how long it takes for people to react after hearing the shots. Watch this.
No, this isn't the Mizrahi one. Kyle is counting down the seconds until Trump is escorted out of the room once the shots are fired.
32 seconds until you hear the shots and they grab Trump and pick him up to move him. 32 seconds. Now, people in the audience were reacting, going under tables and whatnot. But before they moved the president, it was 32 seconds. Okay. Very bizarre, very strange. More. So here we have a video of Trump on his way out. He fell right in his fucking face. And the funny thing is he came out and denied this. But like, bro, we literally have it on video. I think they try to like explain it away by saying Melania was crawling out and Trump tried to grab Melania and pull her back up. But no, you're about to see the video here and it looks pretty clear to me. And down. Yeah, he fell.
Oh, he's such a fucking fat ass, dude. It's awesome. Oh, that's so funny. Come on, dude. That's amazing. Yeah, Diva down. I feel like the data center under the White House is a Palantir Peter Thiel initiative, which would make the push for the ballroom make a lot more sense. But like, what utility do you get out of having a fucking data center under the White House? Do you see what I'm saying? Like what? This guy on drop site looks like your long lost brother. Yeah, his name is also Hassan, ironically enough. Yeah, his name is Hassan Ahmadian. He's a professor at Tehran University.
Yeah, he fell. He definitely fell there. And by the way, his health is obviously failing him. Between him falling here when they're trying to move him out, not even like super fast, just like at a slightly sped up pace, falls on his face. But also, you'll see this event they did, this speech he gave after this. He looks like death. I mean, his eyes are 90% closed. He can barely get through a sentence. It's hard to watch. Okay, Washington Post says, breaking news. The Trump administration provided a lower level of security for the White House Correspondents' Dinner than it has for other gatherings of high-ranking officials, according to officials familiar with the plan. So, understand something. In the room, we had like the top 5 people in the line of presidential succession, right? Maybe even the top 6. I forget exactly, but like the whole cabinet was there. And they had, let me repeat it, a lower level of security than it had for other gatherings of high-ranking officials. So if everybody in that room was taken out, you know who would have became president? 92-year-old Chuck Grassley, who doesn't know where he is and doesn't know how to write English. I wish I
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true. He's a prolific poster. Kyle, you're disrespecting the GOAT. You're disrespecting the GOAT. He knows where he is. That's why he's posting like a madman all the time.
Just kidding. I'm not kidding. So just a thought there, but insane that you have this high level of a gathering and it's just such a mess and so low level security that something like this could happen. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's literally State of the Union level of administration officials.
More. This is the same hotel outside of which John Hinckley Jr. tried to assassinate President Ronald Reagan in 1981. That is a bizarre fact right there. Okay, this was kind of blew my mind, but there's this guy on Twitter by the name of Chili Dog, and he said, note the date here, April 13th. He said, Trump is going to go for a staged assassination attempt again. Blame it on Iran. I will put a 25% chance on this play. Trump has lost all global respect, such that he had. Allies and enemies alike are laughing at him. So as I pointed out, he said this 12 days before the alleged attempted shooting. That's when this guy said this. That is absolutely bonkers. Okay, so here we have Wolf Blitzer, who got like a front row seat to all this. He got up to go to the bathroom, and then when he was leaving the bathroom, all this mayhem unfolded. So he's going to tell you what he saw. Listen to this.
After they served the appetizers, I walked out to simply go to the men's room, but you have to walk up these stairs and walk out, and which I was doing. And as I was walking back towards the door to get back into the big area where the event was taking place, all of a sudden, I start hearing gunshots in the hall right near me. And the next thing I knew, a police officer threw me to the ground and was on top of me. And I was listening and watching what was going on. And apparently they got the gunman who had a major weapon there. But it was so worrisome. The noise was so loud in a small area. And all of a sudden I'm seeing gunshots. And then they grab me, the police officers, and they take me back into the men's room where it was safe. And there were about 15 other men who are stuck in there and they won't let them out. And that's what happened. And then after a while, they let me out, and I'm out now. I'm not back in the ballroom, but everything is apparently closing down. Very scary incident. All of a sudden, a guy with a weapon, and it was a very, very serious weapon, he starts shooting, and I happened to have been a few feet away from him as he was shooting. And, of course, the first thing that went through my mind is he trying to shoot me. And I don't think he was trying to shoot me, but I was very close to him as the gunshots were fired. And it was very, very scary, but I'm okay now.
So one of the stories here is
He
that
lost
the guy
his
Cole
shoe.
Allen, who allegedly did the shooting, right, that he was staying in the hotel, he ran down 10 flights of stairs and exited on the same level that the ballroom was where they were having the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and that's when there were shots fired. Now, he didn't fire the shots. It was Secret Service that fired the shots, but none of them hit him, and they ended up just being able to arrest him somehow. Again, I don't know how that all happened, but that's allegedly how it all unfolded. That's one story.
Dude, that's awesome. He's just straight up saying, nope.
The other
You
story
don't
is
believe it.
he reportedly didn't even get to the same floor as the ballroom where they were having the White House Correspondents' Dinner, that they were able to apprehend him before he even got to the proper floor. So I've seen contradictory stories here. One saying he ran down 10 flights of stairs and got to the proper level. Another one that he didn't get to the proper level. But either way, the shots that were heard were not fired from him. They were fired from Secret Service, and somehow they didn't hit him, but they ended up being able to arrest the guy. Okay, this is what we've seen to this.
Are you covering the fact that he's a time traveler? What is he, Dan Bongino? Is he young Dan Bongino?
Point. So kind of weird that you still have contradictory stories when, you know, there was enough people there where this should not be that hard to determine exactly what went down. Okay, so this is kind of crazy, but I'm going to show you, this is a zoomed in version of what we just watched at the beginning here, where apparently some guy's doing like fucking party tricks or magic tricks for Melania Trump and Donald Trump here. This is the guy standing above them and holding something. So let me just play a little bit of this for you so you can see real quick. But he's doing some sort of trick. He's showing, you know, a card that has something written on it. Okay, here's a crazy fact. Ready? The person showing Trump and Melania a magic trick when the attempted assassin was shot is the same guy, Oz Perlman, who hauntingly guessed Joe Rogan's ATM pin while they were live on air.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. What does it mean? What does it mean?
The latter felt like a veiled threat at the time. Maybe it's nothing, but it's weird. That is kind of weird, okay? Now here is, you can see this, you know, this screenshot here, this picture here. I don't know if Melania's face is reacting like that because the trick blew her mind, which is possible, or if it's because they already heard the gunshots. But the fact that the magician himself is also making a sort of a scared face leads me to believe this is after the shots ring out. And look at Trump's face and look at Melania's face, okay? Trump's face is literally like that meme of James Franco where he looks at the person next to him and they're about to get hanged and he says, first time? Like, Trump's face looks like that. Like he's calm, like he's relaxed, like he's soaking this in. Melania looks terrified. Trump looks perfectly at ease, okay? Very, very bizarre. Okay, more. So here we have, this is kind of crazy, but you can see this is outside the ballroom in like a little press gathering here. You can see fucking the FBI, the Secret Service, police, the National Guard. You can see them like scrambling. Watch this video.
What the Left, downstairs. Where? Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? Where's the crossfire? Look out!
Bro, somebody go.
We got one down.
What the?
Oh my God.
Stay down, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, stay down.
Where's that at? He's inside. They're not inside. Nobody comes in here.
That was literally like the village people of law enforcement, one after the other, after the other, after the other, running in different directions, chaos seemingly, okay? Here is J.D. Vance getting dragged off stage. And what's interesting is he gets dragged off stage, and it's still a little bit before they even grab the president. So yet again, so-called protocol here completely and utterly out the window. Watch this. They grab J.D., drag him. Trump is still sitting there. Trump is still sitting there. Look at this.
Or is it the protocol?
Look at this. And that's where he falls. And then he goes on later to insist that he definitely, positively, without a doubt, did not fall. Okay, this video is kind of wild because there were multiple examples of like different cabinet officials, Stephen Miller, RFK Jr., they end up being dragged out at one point or another. But you're going to see Stephen Miller's like using his wife as a human shield. Okay, RFK Jr. is dragged by his Secret Service agents, and his wife Cheryl Hines is like 5 feet behind, trying to keep up desperately. And look, you know, RFK's going,
Wait, do I have a wife? I don't even know if I have a wife. I don't know what you're talking about. I was too busy felching with Olivia Nuzzi to give a shit about my wife. Wait, my wife is with me now? Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Watch, you'll see. Watch this. So there's RFK, there's the Secret Service agents, there's Stephen Miller using his wife. Look, Cheryl Hines way behind. Bro. It's too perfect that in these moments, stuff like this happens. These people are exactly who the fuck you think they are, dog. They are exactly who you think they are. Now, here is one of Trump's top goons, Dan Scavino, I think like one of his social media guys, and he's about to find out that all their goofy, like, fight stuff and USA chants, that only works at fucking Trump rallies with a bunch of sheep around you, okay? Here you have a room full of people going, what the fuck? You're doing fake patriotism shit as there's like a threat to our lives? What the fuck is wrong with you? Watch this.
USA! USA!
By the way, that's a little too on the nose because, yes, this is something that can only happen in the USA. The country that has a shooting like every other day, a new shooting. USA! Perhaps that's not something to be proud of. I love the person who tried to get a USA chant going, and then it just like tails off, sadly, because we're like, we're not doing that shit right now, okay? This is not a fucking Trump rally, you dipshit. Okay, ready for this? This is kind of crazy. Please tell me this is not the same worthless agent from Butler, Pennsylvania. So here's one picture, a little bit from a distance here, but clearly a Secret Service agent. And then boom, here's this one from Butler. So one more time.
I mean, that part is not that crazy. I saw this too. I didn't cover it when I was covering all the conspiracies, because that one is like the most explainable. Like, even if it's the same person, that still wouldn't be. There's a likelihood that it's not the same person, but even if it was, it wouldn't be that strange. Like, she's a part of the president's Secret Service security detail.
Here's one. Here's another. Now, it's possible it's not the same person because the second one here looks a little like they weigh less, but it's also possible this person just gained a little bit of weight. But either way, kind of bizarre. All right, now here's Dana White, the CEO of the UFC, and he made some eyebrow-raising comments, y'all, that you're about to see right here that made a bunch of people go, huh. All right, watch this.
Inside, they started up. All of a sudden, it just started getting noisy. Tables getting flipped over, guys running in with guns, and they were screaming, "Get down!" I didn't get down. It was awesome. I literally took every minute of it in, and it was a pretty crazy, unique experience.
So you were on the aisle. What exactly did you see?
We were sitting right in front of the table.
Okay.
Right in front of where the president was.
Okay, well, yes. And what exactly happened? So someone got tackled or like what?
Nobody got tackled, but guys came in looking for shooters, and they came toward our table. I thought the shooter was over by us or something.
I didn't get down. It was fucking awesome, he said, about what's supposed to be an alleged attempted assassination of the President of the United States of America, his friend. Okay, here's Erica Kirk. Now, Erica Kirk, for those of you who don't remember, there were so many instances after her husband got murked on live TV. There were so many instances where it's like, I think she's supposed to be emotional, and she definitely isn't, right? Why is she acting this weird? Why is she acting this bizarre? Why'd she do this thing? Why'd she do that thing? Why'd she wear those fucking leather pants? Why is she snuggling up to JD Vance? Like, why is she snuggling up to Jesse Waters? So many instances of like, wow, you're acting pretty strangely here. Well, here she is after this alleged assassination attempt of Trump, which, by the way, according to some stories, the guy didn't even get to the same floor as where they were having the event, okay? Like, they got his ass, right? Here's Erica Kirk's reaction. Watch the waterworks go.
I just want to go find Suzanne.
Did she just say, I just want to go home while crying?
I just want to go find Suzanne.
Bitch, you ain't been home since Charlie got killed. Your kids don't even recognize you anymore. Well, every time I blink, I see you at a new fucking massive event with the fireworks and the WWE WrestleMania entrance and shit, going to give a speech. Like, I see you all the time running, the fucking TPUSA organization. But
that's crazy.
You should be home. Get back home. Like, your kids are going, Mommy, where are you? We miss you. Oh my God. Oh my word. I can't with these people, bro. I can't. This person says, the most performative woman who ever lived. Yes, I think that's fair to say. Okay, how about this one, y'all? Ready? I'm one of the small number of journalists traveling with the White House press pool tonight. We were in a hall just outside the ballroom when the commotion first rang out. Several things happened in quick succession. Tuxedoed agents pulled out guns and began running toward the ballroom. White-jacketed caterers screamed and bolted for stairwells. Pandemonium reigned as top cabinet officials were evacuated. Robert Kennedy Jr. and his wife, Cheryl Hines, came out and were ushered into an elevator. Then Janine Pirro emerged. The FBI director, Kash Patel, came tearing across the hallway with two men in tow. His girlfriend was hiding in a room with another man who was holding her hand. Bro got cucked at the White House Correspondents' dinner shooting. Bruh. Reporters are about to be taken back into the ballroom. The show will go on, apparently. Now, that last part is not true because the show didn't go on, but all the reports were Trump was demanding that the show go on. Kind of strange, kind of weird that yet another supposed attempt on your life, and you're like, anyway, let's go back out there, bro. I'm ready to stand in front of a room of people where we just had a breach. Like, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck? But Kash Patel, dude, I know they're about to fire your ass, but you might have to just resign after this. Like, this dude must have a public humiliation kink, right? He's got to have that fetish because it just had day after day after day. Now, this was eye-opening. Carolyn Levitt to Fox News before the White House Correspondents' Dinner event. This is before the event. Listen to her language here. This is crazy.
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
There will be some shots fired tonight in the... Do not tell me that's not spooky as hell. Do not tell me that is not spooky as hell. You are a fucking gaslighter and a half. If you listen to this, you go, oh yeah,
I mean, no, I don't. If you guys want my honest take on this, I don't think it's like, I don't think Caroline Leavitt was like straight up implying that like actual, gunshots were going to be fired. I think what's even weirder than that, the only thing that's weirder than the Caroline Leavitt thing is Caroline Leavitt's husband, which I'm sure Kyle will get to in a second. Caroline Leavitt's husband telling someone that's in the crowd, be careful. And then Fox News basically shutting off that interview and then never having them back on again. That was weird. None of the other stuff that he's brought up so far is all that strange. It's just funny.
That was, this normal. It's normal to say something like that in a scenario. Bro, come on, man. We're not done yet either. I have more spooky clips for you in just a little bit, by the way. Okay? Now, after this, when Trump goes and gives his, he gives a little speech afterwards, right? Which, by the way, they cut off the fucking playoff game for this, which was annoying. I was watching the NBA playoffs. They cut it off for Trump to babble about how the Dow's doing great with his eyes 90% shut. Just horrible. And then they dragged on and on and on. They switched the game to ESPN eventually from ABC to ESPN, but they didn't tell anybody. So, like, by the time I realized it was on ESPN, there was like 5 minutes left in the game. Super annoying. And I saw a lot of people on Twitter were like furious. Like, I don't want to fucking listen to this guy babble. The guy didn't even get to the same floor as him. The guy, nobody laid a finger on him. He's fucking fine. And we're on attempt number what, like 6th? It's just another day that ends in Y, okay? When you're committing war crime after war crime after war crime, at some point you got to kind of expect, like, I don't know, maybe I am sort of inviting this into my life, right? So Trump and the White House officials were all smiles and appeared in good spirits at the press conference following the White House Correspondents' Dinner incident. So look at this. All of them smiling as Trump delivers his, like, fucking sleepy-eyed stand-up routine over here. He barely knows where he is, but he's trying to babble through it, okay? The only person not smiling is Marco Rubio. Everybody else here is seemingly smiling. All right, here's another one. Smiles all around, baby. Smiles all around. Here's another one. Smiley and giggly. Exactly how I would react if somebody just tried to murder me, okay? Here's the Secretary of War Crimes.
Wait. Does Kyle not realize that the most damning, most compelling thing that he could point to was not Caroline Leavitt, but Caroline Leavitt's husband? Because he skipped past that. Caroline Leavitt's husband telling someone from Fox News right there, right before the shooting happens, like, oh, it's you have to be careful. And then Fox News basically shutting off the clip. Oh, he does after this? Okay.
Smiling. A candid shot here where he's smiling. Very strange. Now, within fucking minutes of this alleged attempted shooting, all of the sycophantic MAGA influencer accounts were out there saying the same goddamn thing, y'all. Look at this. Andrew Colvin, this is why President Trump needs to build the White House ballroom. Libs of TikTok, this is why we need Trump's ballroom. Jack Posobiec, thank God President Trump's building a ballroom at the White House. End wokeness. Now you know why the left is suing to block Trump's privately funded White House ballroom. Wall Street Mav, we need the White House ballroom. Meghan McCain, I don't want to hear one more fucking criticism of Trump's new ballroom at the White House. And it goes on and on and on and on and on. By the way, this isn't even a comprehensive list. More MAGA influencers than this came out and said it. Why? Because they're all in a fucking group chat, okay? So Matt Royer says, Ashley St. Clair, former MAGA person, confirmed the White House runs group chats telling these accounts what to post. Within minutes of shots fired tonight, before there was any news of casualties, and before the president said this exact talking point, this was the chat in real time. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're supposed to believe that within minutes of shots being fired, that, it's a perfectly normal and reasonable reaction to immediately use this to try to shoehorn in the issue you care most about, Trump cares most about, which is building that ballroom, that illegal ballroom, by the way, which he got no approval for whatsoever, and it's a massive fucking, pay-to-play corruption scheme with the Epstein class and the billionaires, right? But, like, literally within minutes of that happening, that's weird, bro. That's strange, bro. That's not something a normal person does, okay? All right, more. So, also, very soon after the attempted shooting, Trump posts a picture of the guy. He posts this picture with a fucking active investigation going on. He posts this picture of the guy on the carpet. This is Cole Allen, the alleged attempted shooter. Okay, let me give you more. Stephen Nelson says, I received a copy of Cole.
This also is unique because you're not supposed to reveal this information. It's only prosecutors that are supposed to reveal this information when there's an active case. You know what I mean? Like, there's not... Like, in Butler, Pennsylvania, you could say it. Trump could reveal everything about Butler, Pennsylvania, because the guy was dead. But in this case, the suspect is alive. Oh, never mind. Which is what my own father and other people told me recently. He was expressing this concern for my safety. I was going to say before I lost my signal. Yeah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Sure. Yeah, that's convenient.
Allen's anti-Trump manifesto, which a U.S. official says he sent his family members about 10 minutes before the White House Correspondents' Dinner shooting last night. So we're supposed to believe 10 minutes before he sprints through security with a shotgun or tries to do that, okay? That's when he sent his manifesto, okay? By the way, in the manifesto as well, it also says, like, if you're reading this, I'm probably in the hospital right now, or like something to that effect. You're telling me he was trying to go assassinate the president, and he knew somehow, I'm going to survive this, and they're going to take me to the hospital? Guys, again, like, if it was one of these things, or two of these things, or even three of these things, I understand people being like, well, Occam's razor, it's, this shit happened, but some wacky stuff occurred too. But as you're going to see here, it's one thing after the next, after the next, after the next. All right, more. Here we go. Here we have the Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Kegsbreath, and take a good look at his face here, his jaw here as he walks by. Watch. Look at the jaw. Look at it. One more time. Here we go. Look at the jaw. Ready? Look at that. Okay. So Hasan says, holy shit, look at his jaw. The man is zooted, okay? Seth Harp, who wrote this great book called The Fort Bragg Cartel, which you should definitely check out. It's about how special ops are basically like all in a criminal gang. It's all a criminal cartel. Seth Harp says, I have been saying for more than a year that everyone at the top of the U.S. war machine is coked to the gills and also geeked up on modafinil, which is another upper, and Dex. But mainstream opinion is still basically unaware of this disturbing reality. So the Secretary of War Crimes, Pete Kegsbreath, also along with Kash Patel, right? Also along with Trump, with old videos of him sniffing, just like Kash Patel, sniffing. That's a sign of snorting an upper, ladies and gentlemen. That's a sign. When you move your jaw like that, that's a sign of cocaine use or meth use or Adderall use. Honestly, it's probably stronger than Adderall when you're jawing that aggressively, right? But they are high as balls, dog. They are. This is a group of fucking degenerates and freaks is what it is. All right, more. Soon after the attempted shooting, Trump somehow gets the security footage and posts it. Again, in the middle of an active investigation, as Adam Cochran says. So the Secret Service and FBI just happened to release the footage to the president during an active investigation, and he felt the need to post it because... So here's the super grainy footage of what appears to be here, him trying to sprint through security. Watch this. standing around. Look at this. Look at this Acme ass, Looney Tunes ass shit. No shot. You got all these guys standing around. It's almost like it's the stereotype of like, you know, a fat cop eating a donut, right? Standing there, and then fucking this guy comes sprinting through like Usain Bolt. Look at this. Then they grab the gun, they fire. By the way, again, they take so many shots, none of them hit him, but they still apprehend him somehow, okay? Okay, now, the MAGA influencers were also spreading an AI image of this incident, okay? They used AI to try to juice up the image. And as you're about to see here, this is goofy in so many ways. See how this agent is wearing a hat? He's going to turn to shoot, and he's going to no longer have a hat. I also like how the text on the back of this this jacket of this law enforcement official says ELID, Elide. Oh, no shot. By the way, this is what they want to take your job too, by the way. They want AI to steal everybody's job, and this is what AI delivers for you. Ready? Watch this. Here we go. So guy comes sprinted through, not even holding a shotgun, by the way. This guy turns, and the hat becomes his normal hair, firing. Like, what the fuck, bro? What is this? Okay, bizarre. Yet again, very bizarre. Now, notice, here was Stephen Miller basically like hiding behind his wife, right? The little Nazi Stephen Miller. Look in the background here very closely. Look in the background here. Who's this? Who's this back here, backstage? That's Trump. Trump is staring out. Very strange. Very strange. Trump lurking in the distance in the background there. Okay, how about this one? So here we have somebody calls into Fox and apparently tells a story here about how Caroline Levitt's husband basically says like, hey, you better be careful. It's a dangerous place here tonight. And they said this before the shooting. Listen to this. And then watch what happens next too, by the way. Here we go.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Levitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me. And, right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened. And then he kind of leaned over and said, I watched you on TV. You do a great job. You need to be very safe.
Why the fuck would you say that? You need to be very safe? Why would you say that? What a weird thing to say at a White House Correspondents' Dinner event. What the fuck?
Watch you on TV, you do a great job. You need to be very safe. And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
I love this clip. This one's the best one. Okay, this one is the best one.
Call drop, bro. The call dropped. Oh, then he looked around the room and he said, there are some, and boom, the call fucking dropped. Are you fucking kidding me? Now watch the Fox News person try to cover it up.
Sounds like we lost Aisha's phone there. And this happens, by the way.
No shot. This happens all the time. Somebody says that somebody whispered to them that there was something violent about to happen, and there was an attempted shooting. They knew in advance. We don't know how they knew in advance. They're in the middle of telling that story, and then the call drops out of nowhere. Bro, this is totally normal, bro.
Phone there. And this happens, by the way, especially when you have so many people attempting to utilize the same cell service at the same time. I did want to add this while we have...
Oh, my word. Who are they kidding, bro? Who are they kidding? Okay, so then Trump, afterwards, after this happens, all of a sudden he puts on the, serious person hat, and he says, in light of this evening's events, I ask that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our differences peacefully. Trump is saying, everybody calm down out there. We need to be peaceful. We need to resolve stuff peacefully. The same guy who just the other week said, an entire civilization will die tonight. An entire civilization will die. Sounding like a fucking comic book ass villain. Now he's going to lecture us about resolving our differences peacefully. The guy...
Dude, he's fucking... Kyle is so dope, dude. He is like... I don't mean he's becoming Alex Jones in a negative way. I'm not saying... Well, this video, he is leaning into the conspiracy a little bit. But I mean, as far as his, on-camera presence, which I have tremendous respect for Alex Jones for. This is the one thing that I think Alex Jones is brilliant at, is, being an incredible entertainer. Kyle is officially, becoming that guy. Not even awesome. I'm not even talking about conspiracy theories or a dangerous force or anything like that. I just mean on as far as being able to deliver an entertaining story about ongoing events in a way that's convincing, but more importantly entertaining. He's on that. He's on that tip.
Who massacred this precious little boy in Iran? This precious little boy was murdered by Donald Trump. We're supposed to listen to him lecture us about resolving our differences peacefully. A guy who triple-tapped a little girl's elementary school and bombed hospitals and bombed bridges and bombed power plants and went after civilian infrastructure left and right. We're supposed to listen to a lecture from him about resolving our differences peacefully. Go fuck yourself, son. Go fuck yourself. Okay, now here's Trump. Here's the little speech he gave, which cut off the playoff game, which I'm still furious about. And listen to He can't help himself. Listen to who he compares himself to here.
Why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look.
Dude, I fucking love that, man. That was such a... Trump was on a different level that night and the day after. He had some really great Trump quotes that you haven't really heard in a minute. Like, no new Trump quotes have actually entered the ether in a while because his brain is so doo-doo. I've studied assassinations is fucking awesome. That is prime Trump. I've studied assassinations. People only want to kill people that are impactful. You're the president, man. What are you saying? It's just such a dumb guy thing to say, and I love that.
The people, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this, where they got them.
Oh, my word. Yeah, you know, like Abraham.
You see, if Abraham Lincoln had a ballroom, he would not have been killed.
Lincoln, he freed the slaves. I'm in the Epstein files. You know, Abraham Lincoln. You know, he's basically the greatest American, one of the greatest, if not the greatest American president of all time. I'm the most corrupt person to ever sit in the White House. Yeah, we're very similar. We're very similar. I triple tap girls' schools. You know, I'm humanitarian like that. Bro, I can. And also, again, why are your eyes 90% closed? By the way, here is what happened when Kash Patel delivered his commentary. Watch what happens. Look at Trump's face here.
Those that were there, and if any of those individuals have information, please come forward to the law enforcement of the FBI's Metropolitan Police Department.
Bro, he's out. Look at him. Look at him. He's out.
Background thoroughly. That process is already started.
He can barely keep his eyes open.
We're going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf
Look at this. Bro's hitting REM sleep.
Or anyone else.
To be fair, he's probably thinking about how he was holding Kash Patel's girlfriend's hand. That's probably what he was doing. That was a delayed thaw.
That was responsible. We will analyze
my word. Look at
those
this.
that were there.
Look at, now, meanwhile, he'll be up at fucking 2 a.m. or 4 a.m. angry tweeting about fucking Bette Midler or Whoopi Goldberg, right? He'll do that. But then during the day, during important meetings, he'll be out, right? And here he is, falling asleep on his feet. On his feet. Okay, here's another. Look at what he looked like when he gave his speech. Bro, he looks like if Miss Doubtfire was a narcoleptic. That's what he looks like here. What on earth am I looking at? His face looks like fucking silly putty or some shit. What is this? Or Play-Doh. He's got Play-Doh on his face. What is this? I can't, man. All right, the next day after this, immediately goes out there and starts, the ballroom. What happened last night is exactly the reason that our great military, Secret Service, law enforcement, and for different reasons, every president for the last 150 years have been demanding that a large, safe, and secure ballroom be built on the grounds of the White House. Again, using it to try to get this ballroom. So strange, so bizarre, so extreme, so weird that every MAG influencer right after the shooting was immediately out there saying we need that ballroom. Also, by the way, take note, he admitted in the past, it's not just about the ballroom. It's about building a nuclear bunker underneath, a state-of-the-art nuclear bunker underneath, which is very weird that Trump and his entire cabinet are living on fucking military bases because they don't want the public to be able to get to them. And Trump is now trying to build a nuclear bunker. It's almost like they're telling you, yeah, we are planning Armageddon. We are planning nuclear annihilation. And our asses are going to go hide, and we're going to protect ourselves from you. That's what's going on here. Okay, how about this? So as I said, a bunch of shots. They did a bunch of shots at the shooter. And the shooter got no shots off, by the way. And like none of the shots hit the shooter. Very weird. Very, very bizarre. Well, the same thing happened previously. A Secret Service agent also missed all 6 shots he fired at Ryan Ruth from point-blank range. So this is the guy who tried to kill Trump at one of his golf courses in Florida, right? Remember this guy, Ryan Ruth? Well, they tried to shoot him too and missed, all from point-blank range. Same thing that happened here in this scenario. Okay, more. So here is a video.
I'm not going to lie. Virtually all of these, like here, do you want to know, in order of priority, what are some of the more inexplicable things? Okay, in order of priority, because like a lot of the stuff, even when he puts it together, I'm actually looking at it right now as like a full package, and it's like, it doesn't do it for me. But as far as the things that are unbelievable and inexplicable, I would go so far as to say the lack of security, especially considering that this was such a high-profile event in the Washington fucking the Washington Hilton. Right? Like, that's unbelievable. The fact that this dude was able to bum rush, also unbelievable. But as far as like the Secret Service agents like shooting and failing to actually apprehend or failing to shoot and kill the runner, that's believable. They're incompetent. Just like with Ryan Ruth. So that was strange, for sure. The ballroom push could be Republicans actively trying to make the most of a situation. Never let a crisis go to waste, or it could be a coordinated effort. I mean, it was a coordinated effort, but I'm saying like, or it lends itself to the whole, this was a fake plot, conspiracy. But overall, by and large, I think it's just a radical centrist, liberal guy who fucking got so mad at Trump for being a shithead, who thinks if you kill Trump, you all of a sudden like fix American politics or something. Because he's a liberal. Security is crazy. We are at war with the stated #1 state sponsor of terror. Yeah. I don't know. Look where the mentalist was born. Yeah, I know he was born in Israel. I know. We already went through this where chatters were saying he's a agent of Mossad, and I got mad at them and threatened them that I would do an anti-Semitism sensitivity seminar if they kept saying everyone that's born in Israel that like lived in Israel for 2 years or whatever, or 7 years, however long he lived there, is a Mossad agent is getting a little anti-Semitic for my taste, sweetie. Oh shit, you're in the Chapo episode? Yes, I am. Damn, chatter, you got the Patreon notification just now? Yes, I am.
Of the shooter, Cole Allen. And they say, people thought like, oh, Usha Vance is also in this video. She's not. It's not Usha Vance. She was like literally living in a different state. She had nothing to do with Caltech. So that's incorrect. But very strange. This guy went to Caltech. Very bright person, like very intelligent person. And he's going to walk you through here. This is the kind of stuff he was doing. He was like working on devices to help old people with medical problems. Watch this.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
Recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors.
See, people thought this was Usha Vance. It's not Usha Vance.
14 different tech startups got to present to over 350 people in the hopes of getting their projects into some sort of senior health facilities.
So this was a brilliant kid. This was somebody who was working on like scientific problems. It's very strange to have somebody like that end up doing something like this. Okay, Roy Jones Jr. says, Cole Allen, the alleged shooter at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, is seen here in the image for Caltech's mechanical engineering major page. Thomas Crooks was featured in a BlackRock video ad while he was a student. Both handpicked directly from
Okay, this doesn't... okay.
CIA Central Casting. All right, look at this. So there you have him right here. There you have him right here. Caltech, mechanical and civil engineering. He's right there. Okay. And then here was Thomas Crooks in that BlackRock ad. This one is kind of crazy. According to Cole...
None of these are crazy. These are gimmick accounts. Accounts write different names, like random names and random dates on Twitter. They do it all the time. Random predictions. And then they delete everything else. Like, I feel like even if this account didn't do that, like Cole Allen is an unbelievably common name. You just not ready, dude? Okay, so I'm going to stop ruining the fun. I mean, I said this the night of. I feel like it's just not. No fun. Okay. It's real. It's a real. They got Cole Allen. They spread the clues all around, like this one fucking Groyper account. They spread all the clues around so that we can all fucking figure it out. There's probably an inside guy who was like, oh no, there's going to be another attempted assassination that was foiled years later. So I should just put this government agent who we tapped into 4 years ago. Let's just put his name out there on this random anonymous Groyper profile.
Thomas Allen's LinkedIn. He interned at NASA in 2014. In 2014, NASA published a paper, and Henry Martinez was an author. An ex-user named Henry Martinez, made in 2023, made only a single post on December 21st, 2023. The post simply said, Cole Allen. So here's Henry Martinez, And here's the post that says Cole Allen from December of 2023. And a lot of people are pointing out that this Pepe holding the champagne looks like that picture of Trump, where he's sitting there like looking at Melania as Melania's face is scared. You know, Trump's in his tuxedo, looking at the, like kind of looking that direction. It kind of looks like this Pepe picture. Very weird, man. Very weird. And then we don't even need to get into this, but then you also have, do you see the banner for this Twitter thing here? Apparently, if you take this and you adjust it in one of the editing programs, it looks like sort of like a modern art piece, but it really is a picture of the Trump shooting. If you change it in editing software, like the core of it is the picture of the Trump shooting.
What?
And you're going, hold on, wait a second. The timeline here doesn't.
Yeah, that's new. That wasn't the case. That wasn't the case. That's a new. They probably added that after the fact or something. If that's even real at all, I don't think that was the. I don't even think that was the actual banner when we looked at Henry Martinez's account.
To match up. How the fuck does he have that in it? Very strange, very bizarre stuff. I don't know what to make of it. What I do know is it's all very weird, y'all. It's all very weird. And the fact of the matter is, I think we're at a point now where, sort of like with the JFK assassination, the majority of Americans think that it wasn't the official story, right? It wasn't Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone shooter. There's elements of that we don't know, and Americans know there's elements of that we don't know. Whether it's the mafia being involved, or the Soviet Union being involved, or the CIA being involved, or Lyndon Johnson being involved. There's all these different conspiracies. People know that the official story is not real. By the same token, we're now at that place when it comes to the Butler, Pennsylvania shooting. We're now, even conservative Republicans are kind of leading the charge and going, yeah, that doesn't make much sense. That doesn't fucking add up. That doesn't add up at all, bro. And so, Tim Dillon went on a rant the other day about how, hey, there's a lot of questions there that are weird, that are bizarre, that don't make sense. Like, why was Joe Kent came out and said, I was blocked from investigating that. That's weird. Why was I blocked from investigating that? Why does that video go super viral all the time of them moving the photographers into place as the shooting's happening? They lower the flag and Trump gets up and puts his hands up and says, fight, 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 which you would never do if you're Secret Service. You're going to try to cover him completely to make sure the shots don't continue to potentially hit him, right? There's no fucking scar there. Like, don't even get me started, right? But now I think the majority position is going to be skeptical of what happened in Butler. And then this one here, look, at a time when his approval rating is fucking 33%. He knows everybody hates him. He knows Republicans are barbecue chicken for the midterms. Like, do I put it by them to fucking lie about this? Do I put it by them to fucking, create something like this? I absolutely do not. Now, I don't know what the fuck happened, but I know that there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I think everybody knows that there's a lot of unanswered questions about this. So tell me what you guys think in the comment section below, but this is some wild stuff, man. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like.
Cause on his Candace shit. I mean, have fun. Have fun with it. I think it's good to have fun. My attitude on this stuff.
All right, guys. So I don't know if you
is live and let live. Now, the reason why I say this is because the Republicans have trafficked in dangerous conspiracy theories, hateful conspiracy theories that immediately put the blame randomly on trans people, Antifa, the left, broadly, over and over again in the aftermath of shootings that have taken place. Sometimes shootings that are conducted by members of the right. Famously, in the case of the Minneapolis, Minnesota shooter that ended up killing the Democratic state legislators, right? Republicans straight up turned around and were like, oh, no, this is a Tim Walz fan. Ridiculous. Tim Walz was actually on the target list, right? So it is really silly for me to sit here and actually get in the way of a faucet of conspiracy coming from the liberal side. If you ask me what my opinion is, I'll always tell you the truth. But on the other hand, because conspiracy theories are so effective in undermining whatever conspiracy the right is trying to put together, trying to do first to market misinformation, low-key, I've decided to tactically step out of the way when liberals engage in this kind of stuff. I saw this with Candace Owens. I saw this with Candace Owens and the Israel conspiracy with Charlie Kirk's assassination. Republicans were much more organized and demonstrated adequate messaging discipline in the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were very quick to say, oh, this is transgender Antifa. They only had to dial it back a little bit when they found out that the shooter, alleged shooter, Tyler Robinson, was a white boy from a Mormon family, a good family, right? At which point they started saying, oh, pray for the shooter, right? I mean, or pray for his soul, whatever. However, if it wasn't for Candace Owens coming out and just dropping that Israel bomb, I think we would probably be in a different media environment right now. She came in with that. She came in with that nuclear bomb, turning around and saying it was Israel. And my God, it shocked the world. I mean, it got Benjamin Netanyahu to respond to it, which made it only worse. There was already so much anti-Israel energy in the space, even amongst Republicans. And it totally destroyed whatever narrative building campaign that the Republicans had in mind, whatever goal they had in mind to turn Charlie Kirk into a martyr and maybe even punish the left for it. They did not play their hands correctly there. Going after Jimmy Kimmel was a mistake, liberal icon, but more so because it was a very clear-cut, dare I say, desperate act of censorship against someone who hadn't said anything that crazy about Charlie Kirk. They basically blew their load. And nowadays, I'm watching that happen over and over again. I'm watching it happen in real time. That's precisely what happened last night. Republicans wanted to come after me. Republicans wanted to come after everyone on the left, saying, oh, if you say something mean about our big, beautiful president, that means you want him dead. You're actively, we should treat every criticism of the president as incitement. But liberals had a very different mentality. They came in hot and they said, nope, this is a staged assassination. Yet again, there goes the unpopular president staging a fake assassination attempt so that he can desperately stop his hemorrhaging approval ratings and, dare I say, use this as an opportunity to build a ballroom. That cut away at all the Republican mania. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, I cover misinformation. I go through it with a fine-tooth comb, and I try to correct the record to the best of my ability. But sometimes, if the people are giving you a gift, you just got to let it happen. So that's the way I treat a lot of these conspiracy theories coming from the liberal side. I still worry that we have no consensus reality. I worry about what that will do to American civilization, our society in general. But also at the same time, I'm not going to be super aggressive in correcting the record. Whenever I hear liberals say it's fake, I'll probably entertain it a little bit. Be like, yeah, I'll egg it on. That's my unbelievably transparent and honest assessment.